Hello, everybody. I am going live today again. So excited to be here with you. Got my flowers in the back, got some fresh flowers. I don't know about you all, but I love fresh flowers. Always got to have fresh flowers. And I think I'm due this week because these have opened up beautifully. And it's time to get some more. But welcome, everyone, to my Clubhouse networking conversations that I'm doing every week. Just actually finished, not just recently, but it's been a few hours, but I just completed a Clubhouse room that we run every week. It's on Thursdays at 2 p.m. and it circles all around entrepreneurship. So if you've been following, being on Clubhouse has been a good adventure for me. I made a lot of networking connections. Just got off of a call with a doctor that I am wanting to be a part of my podcast. So that was good. That's part of my networking on Clubhouse. And that is why I wanted to come to you guys, because we get a lot of mixed conversation about Clubhouse being a waste of time. And it can be a waste of time. I am not going to lie. I do have to turn off my notifications because and I wouldn't say a waste of time. That's a choice of words I wouldn't use. It's only a waste of time if you don't get anything out of it, if you don't have the right intentions of going in there. So my intention is to network. As you know, I'm there to just network with specific people, that is people in the healthcare, wellness industry. I am looking for people to be on my podcast. I'm trying to really grow that. So this has been a good way for me to be able to get doctors, other wellness individuals. I've been getting vegan athletes that want to get on the podcast. So people are looking for ways to get their message out as well. So this has been a really good avenue for me to simply just put in my bio what I'm looking for. And I make it a point to go in rooms or events, if you want to call it that have topics that I'm interested in. So earlier this week, I got up, and I usually don't do Clubhouse first thing in the morning, but this morning I just didn't feel like getting out of the bed. So something popped up, and it was someone that I follow on LinkedIn, and we have been conversing back and forth. So I said, I really want to get in her room. She has a great following, a great network, and I've been wanting to connect with her. Got in there, jumped. I played around and listened to the room first to see what the conversation was about. I don't get on the stage I don't ask to be invited up to the stage unless I know what the conversation is about. It's nothing worse than getting on stage and you don't know what's talked about, and they ask you your share or what do you want to say on stage and you don't even know what they talk about. So I always read the room first and figure out what's going on, and then I raise my hand if I have something to add or a question. I had 2 questions. I had them written down, so I didn't want to get up there fumbling. And I had them written down, and I knew which speakers I was going to ask those questions to, because there was a panel of people. So I didn't just want to get up there and ask the questions. I had 2 specific people that I wanted to ask the question, but I had a third person that I wanted to say thank you to and get the attention of. And I did just that. And I am following up now with all of that. It actually worked out really well. Got on stage, let them, I thanked them, said a couple other things, and they all appreciated that. And turned out we were all from the same hometown. So we were all from the same particular area, the 2 people that are the main people in this room. And that was thumbs up for me right there, being from where they're from. So we spoke the same language, and that felt really good. That was exciting. And then I went on with my questions. These are my 2 questions, and this is who I'm asking it to. Wound up getting 2 more connections with people that were willing to help me. I mean, that's all from just literally coming into an app. I was still literally laying in my bed, you guys. Still in the bed, and literally just turned this audio app on, made those kind of connections. I didn't have to get on a plane. I didn't have to pay for a rental car. I didn't have to wine and dine anybody. But, I set up a coffee date. I set up, when things open up, when I go back home, they were like, let's have lunch. That happened from my bed. And that's where I'm talking about connections on Clubhouse, really using them and then following up. So I'm in the process of following up and making sure I connect with all the individuals. I've been getting so many connections that it's been hard for me to keep up, especially when I have guests on my podcast. So I guess that's not a bad thing, but it's also one to where I put the brakes on scheduling anybody else for my podcast. So I'm booked through May. And that's as far as I'm going to go for right now, because I also have another event that I do on Sundays that I have to edit for. Plus, I have to edit for YouTube. And I still have, other things to do. So that is something that I'm working through. I did not expect to do podcasting. I really wasn't on my radar. But the beauty of Clubhouse is, and entrepreneurship is, you can be flexible. And that's totally encouraged, is to be flexible. Go into Clubhouse and see, like, you'll never believe the things and the people that you would be connected to. One of the people that I hold a room with every Thursday, she's a bar teacher, a ballerina teacher. Why are we doing a room together? What you may ask. We're all entrepreneurs. We have differences, but we all have that one thing in common. And we're all looking to grow our businesses. So we all came together on Clubhouse, and I interviewed this ballerina bar teacher on my podcast. We hit it off, such a good conversation that we were like, hey, let's do a Clubhouse room together. Hey, Edward, hello. Let's do a Clubhouse together. And that is how it all turned out. And then we brought in other entrepreneurs, and we've been holding this room every week. Every week it grows. More and more people in the room, more and more people on the stage. We connected with, we have people that have substantial followings on Instagram and, are actual legitimate, genuine people. And that's one thing that I find with Clubhouse that I haven't been able to find in other ways besides LinkedIn, actually networking with genuine people who are truly looking to grow business and make lasting and genuine connections. How can I help you in business? How can you help me in business? Those type of things. So I would say, take a look at Clubhouse. If you have any questions about it, I would definitely love to answer your questions. It's been fun for me. It's been a learning curve. I did have to, like I say, monitor the time that I'm on it. So when I'm done with it, I turn off the notifications so I don't get a ping that, oh, this room about gardening is going on. And I know that if I see something about gardening, I'm going to want to get on Clubhouse. So if you see something that you like and it pops up in front of you and all you have to do is click it on your phone and listen, I could still be doing other stuff, but I have just personally made the choice to stay off of it, because if I'm still listening to something, I can't get other work done. So that's personally for me, what I've chosen to do. Is some other people have said that's what they do as well. When they're not on it, they're designated times to be on it. That way they can keep their focus, keep their other things rolling, in business and be able to do other things besides just Clubhouse. Then it works just fine. So that's just one of the tips that I've incorporated since the last week, is making sure I turn off my notifications. Certain days I'll just make sure they're turned off for the whole day. So that way I don't even get tempted to get on. What else? So the room, one thing I've learned about running a room. So my club is up and going. I do have a club. All Things Allied Health is my club on Clubhouse, which a club is where you house events or rooms. So I run a club, and I forget how many members, over 100 members now. So it's not large, but some of the clubs that have been around for a while, when Clubhouse first opened, they have like 20, 30,000 followers. I think there are over 1 million people or so on Clubhouse now. I forget what the number is now, but it's so many clubs now in Clubhouse. Everybody has a club pretty much. So for me, my club is geared towards medical professionals that are not doctors, that are not nurses. There's so many other medical folks out there, and they are not doctors. They are not nurses. They have clubs as well. So I thought about starting that club early, and I probably should have. And that's what suggestion that I would have. I would probably have a larger club, but also I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I know a lot of people that started their clubs early, and it is like a job. They have to man it and run it and watch who's running rooms in it. And, it's a lot. I don't want to do all of that. I'll be honest. I don't want to do all of that. I want something to just run on its own. That's why I garden the way I do. My garden runs on its own. It waters itself. I just have to go out there and pick my food. I do not want to run a business like that where I have to monitor people, monitor things, because if someone runs a room in your club and it goes against Clubhouse rules, you can be banned from Clubhouse. You can be kicked off. You would lose, a lot of stuff. And people, I'm trying to figure out my thing with my club is I want to organize it in a way to where it benefits me business wise. So I just don't want to have it as like a hobby. To me, as an entrepreneur, you should always be looking at how something you love or something that you want to make it to a business is actually income producing a business. So that's one thing I'm working on now. So my connections are going to be really key to doing that, is connecting with individuals to help build my club. And those are going to be certain medical folks, getting them into the room, into the club to, hopefully enjoy the rooms that I put on. So every Sunday for 30 minutes, I usually run the room with a nurse and we talk about how healthcare professionals can get healthy. So that's how I got into health coaching, was healthcare workers were my clients. So I figured, why not run a room on Sundays? Because doctors need their help. Medical professionals get sick too. Just because they take care of sick people don't mean that they don't get sick. So I figured I would run a room on Sundays and then invite them afterwards at 6 p.m. I host a cooking show. So invite them to that as well. So we've had great success with that. Our room size is growing. You have to be consistent with things. So if you're going to run a room and decide to have a club on Clubhouse, don't worry if you don't have thousands of people in your club. If you have 100 people or 50 people and they are consistent, they support your rooms, they support the events that you hold under your club, they follow you on social media, they get your freebies out of your links, they refer people to you. I mean, there are so many other ways that you can use the clubs and the rooms to your benefit. Don't just think of it as, I don't have 50,000 followers. The amount of people that follow you doesn't matter. It's the quality of just like on YouTube, it's the quality of your subscribers or followers. So figure out, if you're in Clubhouse and you want to do a club or you want to do a room, what is your end goal? How are you going to make it a part of your existing business or add value so people will want to come to you to look at what business you offer or what service you offer? That is my biggest tip, is go in adding value, go in intentional, and come out a winner. That's, you're going to win if you go on with those main two things, and be consistent, and don't look for fast results. Just like on YouTube, most YouTubers have been at this for a while. They didn't just do it a week ago and now boom, they have all these followers, they have all these subscribers, they have all these brand deals. They've been doing this for a while. So stick with it, figure out what works for you. What works for someone else may not work for you. So don't worry if when you first get in and it just doesn't work the same way social media and everything does. The analytics doesn't pick up that, you only have 100 followers for your, not for your club or Clubhouse, but just to you. How many people follow you? Clubhouse analytics doesn't work like that. So you can follow 1,000 people and only have 20 following that you're following. It doesn't. Now, Instagram works differently. So Clubhouse is totally, very interesting. It's totally different on that. So the more people you follow on Clubhouse, the more rooms will open up to you. So I get pinged into, because I follow a couple Japanese cooks, whenever they go into Japanese linguistic rooms or anything, I've been pinged into Chinese rooms where they're speaking all Mandarin. And I don't understand, but I get pinged in because the person that I'm following, I have this one girl that I know from Japan. She's a chef, and every time she goes, she speaks Mandarin and Japanese and another Taiwanese. So every time, no, she speaks Cantonese. I can't remember. It's either Taiwanese or Cantonese. I can't remember which one she speaks, but she speaks the 3 languages. And anytime she goes in one of those rooms, it pings me. And, I don't read katakana, hiragana. I don't read any of those, but I know they're Asian, script. So I'm usually it's her. So a couple rooms I've been in, and they'll speak English and Japanese in the rooms a lot of times. Some of the Chinese rooms, I think she speaks Cantonese. That's what I think it is. I'm not sure. but it's a third language. And I want to just say Cantonese, but I am not totally sure which one it is that she speaks. But Japanese and Chinese are the two main, Mandarin Chinese are the two main rooms that I'm always pinged into. And that's because I follow her and she follows me back. So anybody that you follow, thanks, Edward, anybody that you follow, they will open up rooms for you. They'll open up the possibility for you to go into those rooms. So just be careful who you follow. So if you follow someone that goes in rooms, yeah, I knew what you meant. I didn't have my glasses, but I saw it. Yeah, you type like me. I typed the word red the other day, Edward, and I typed REF. And I had already posted it on social media, and I was like, you know what? I can't even change the reel now. So, and there's some people typed, we know what you meant, red onion. So I got you. Thank you. So I would just say, be careful of who you follow. If you're new to Clubhouse, just kind of look through their bio and see what they're about, what kind of rooms they go in. If you usually the people when you're in rooms that you like, those are the people that come to those rooms. It's rare that somebody who's in some really kind of different room that's not for you will come into the room if you guys are on total spectrums of things. So you don't usually have to worry about that unless you go into those rooms, then you will meet some of those people. And if they follow you, then you don't even have to follow them back. If they follow you, then it will kind of trigger the algorithm to ping you into those rooms. So you don't want to be pinged into certain rooms, and you have to accept. It's not like it automatically pulls you over into the rooms. You have to accept it, but sometimes you don't know till you get in. I've been in rooms before where I got in and the title said one thing and I was like, oh, no. I'm not going to be in this room, but I was already in there. So I had to figure out who is it that I follow that went into the room. So that's happened a few times, maybe about 2 or 3 times it's happened. So I've had to remove those people because I kept getting pinged to those rooms and they have kind of deceiving titles and I don't want to be in those rooms. So just find out who you follow. Just make sure who follows you. And you can always block people just like any other social media thing. You can always block people. It's not like you can't block them. So, but I've never had to block anybody on Clubhouse. Most people don't follow you unless they find something interesting in your bio. I have not really had anybody follow me I have more like interesting people that'll follow me on Instagram versus in Clubhouse that I've ever had. I've never had any trouble out of it. So, but you never know. Always be careful, but I enjoy it. I am going to continue to use it for networking and to learn. Before I got on this, I jumped on a podcast. They were having a podcast room. They were just finishing out. I always seem to get in at the last minute before they close out these rooms. I don't know what is that all about, but I hopped on to a podcast Q&A. I think it was entitled. And I didn't know the 3 people, but one of them I was following already. So I must have been in a podcast room with her before. Very helpful. So I jumped right on stage because I did have a question to ask them because I'm switching over from one Anchor on my podcast to Podbean. And I was going to do Buzzsprout, but I don't know. I looked at the pros and cons and I chose Podbean. So I am transferring over everything. So I had a couple questions about the transfer. And they were able to answer that for me. And then I had questions on, should I change the name? Because the name of my podcast is all about, wellness and travel and kind of talks about self-care. So I wanted to know, should I change the name and it's not like my podcast has so many people following it. So it's not like I don't think it would hurt to change the name. I'm trying to rebrand it. So that was my question. And it was really, really good information. And one of the ladies was like, just DM me. She has a really big podcast and she's just really helpful to a lot of people. I've been in rooms with her before and I just like her style. I like how helpful she is. Of course, she has a business and her business is marketing and helping people, when it comes to their podcast. But, nothing's free most of the time. So, people will help you to a point, then they have to pay bills too. So I'm interested to see, how she can help me and what I can learn from her. So Clubhouse has been, even the free information that I've gotten from people has been very helpful. Just like me finding out about Podbean. I never even knew about Podbean. I only knew about Anchor, Buzzsprout. I never knew about that. And I'm sure you can Google these things, but it's one thing to Google stuff or to ask someone who's actually been using it. And you get to look at their podcast and see, wow, they have a nice podcast. They have a nice YouTube. You actually get to see that people are truly having results with what they're doing. And you don't just read reviews on the website or Google it and you find the answer. You're able to actually talk to people and find out from them, hey, this is working. And you'll be surprised how many people will tell you, and they're not getting paid for it. They don't have affiliate links. They're just telling you, hey, this didn't work for me, or this one worked. You should try it. This worked for me. And like 3 of those podcasters, some do it on I think Bean Sprout. Someone else does it on Anchor. Someone else does it on Podbean. But they'll all tell you, you know, it's all in what you're looking, you know, for as far as what you want to pay, who you want to get it out to, what do you plan to do in the future with your podcast? So many things. Like she told me, thinking of changing my name. First of all, there are certain things you want to look at. Do you want to niche down or niche down? So far, that was something good to think about. And then have you looked at the URL, done your SEO research? I hadn't even thought about those things. So a lot of good, even just that information was very helpful. So that's why I tell you, you know, Clubhouse has been helpful in just being able to run things by people who have a little more experience and just getting that help from them. So I would encourage you, if you have not gotten on Clubhouse and you're an iPhone user or an iPad user, you can still get on. It will be opening up to Android, I think, pretty soon. I'm not sure of the date, but I hear it's going to open up pretty soon. So be on the lookout. But it's a really helpful tool for me in networking and in my business. And I actually found the other thing. I ran a room last week with the young ladies, and someone was in our audience, and she's a Pinterest expert. And I've been wanting some help on my Pinterest. My Pinterest is doing really well, but I really don't know why it's doing so well. I mean, I'm posting in it and I'm consistently posting, but I can't tell you the reason. Like someone said, well, what are you doing to increase, you know, your clicks and your outbound clicks? I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue, but it shot up from like 1,000 to I'm at 31,000 views now. And I have I forget how many outbound clicks. I have to look at it again today. Outbound clicks. And I cannot tell you what I am doing. I'm just consistently posting. I know that sounds funny, but it's funny to me, at least, you know, that I honestly cannot explain to you what I'm doing, that it shot up like that. But I do know that I'm just consistently posting inside of that things that I would look for. I mean, that's just how I do things. Is what would I usually search for? What is it that I need? So obviously, if I might need it, somebody else might need it. So I post it and pin it the way that if I was to look, or things that I would want to look for. So that's what I encourage you to. You could get somebody to help you. And then I found her, and we're talking now to see if I want to use her services, because some things you just don't have time for. And that's one of those things. I don't understand Pinterest. I don't really have time for it right now. I would like to put my energy and time elsewhere. So that's what I would just say. Another good thing that came out of Clubhouse. So hopefully this was helpful. If you're watching the replay and you see some of the chat, please, you won't be able to put anything in there, but you can make comments. So we encourage you, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next Thursday. Take a look at some of my other videos, and thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you, Edward, for joining.